Hello everyone and welcome to Moneycontrol. We are back after a short hiatus with a brand new episode of Tech Up, a weekly podcast for the latest in gadgets, personal technology, AI and everything in between. I am your host Abhas Sharma and today we are unfolding a question that just won't fold away. Now pardon the bad pun, but the questions we are asking is, are foldables finally ready to go mainstream? Samsung recently dropped not one but two foldable phones, the Galaxy Z Fold7 and the Galaxy Flip 7. Vivo, on the other hand, is prepping to launch the Vivo X Fold 5. Google got into the act last year as well, and we may see another foldable Pixel. Meanwhile, OnePlus seems to have taken a break and not focusing on a foldable after the OnePlus Open. However, in China, the likes of Huawei and Honor have consistently been rolling out foldables over the years. There, however, seems to be a lingering doubt over the future of foldable phones. So, to get to the heart of it, I am joined by senior analyst with IDC Asia Pacific. Navkender, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Abbas. Pleasure to be here.
All right, so we are now actually on the seventh generation of the Galaxy Fold, and that's quite a long time in the world of technology. And yet, foldables still feel like tech for a very specific crowd. Why do you think they haven't gone mass market yet? Is it the price tag or something deeper?
See, I think it's a combination of all these factors. The pricing is one of the major ones. Pricing combined with, and when a customer buys a phone or a device, they have to see the value, and value equation also gets a price. So, price is one. Secondly, I think the form factor and the functionality of the form factor is also a major one. The fragility of the device, it's very fragile device. There are It's very difficult for consumers to even manage one screen. Screen can break. The cost is high. If the screen breaks, there are two screens in this, and then the usability of those two screens, because there's always a debate. This in the foldable, that is my everyday real screen is a unfolded screen, the bigger one, which is about 7.5 inches, or it's the front screen. So I think all these put together are the factors which have really restricted the growth of the foldables at the price point and even the form factor as
Right, right. From an industry perspective, we have seen, Vivo has a foldable, Oppo has, OnePlus, Motorola, but OnePlus seems to have taken a step back. Do you think there is like a lack of consensus in the industry, like whether foldables can actually take off or work, or is it just a case of different brands playing different hands?
No, I think it will be safe to say that there is a question mark around the how much demand foldables can generate. Was it
Right,
the right way to go? Just because, I mean, in the sense that much of these is supply driven also. While there's
right,
innovation, obviously, but then since the ecosystem, the display ecosystem, and the chipset and the battery ecosystem goes in that manner, and a player like Samsung was one of the first of the block, and then Huawei enters. So there is a lot of supply of those components, and then other brands say they have to showcase the innovation. You can do that, but it's not bringing meaningful volumes for any of the players, frankly. And obviously, price points are one part of it, but there
right.
it's safe to say that there is a question mark around it, and I'll address the OnePlus thing, slightly separately, because OnePlus being from the Oppo stable, Oppo launched that foldable last
Right,
year. OnePlus
right.
missed that. One of the best foldables personally I've used was OnePlus Foldable One, OnePlus
True,
Open One,
true.
because of the form factor and just the aspect ratio. So it's not that OnePlus Oppo did not launch it. They launched under Oppo. They might do it this year or next year. They've not even said that under OnePlus it not happen. So you can get it under OnePlus or Oppo.
Right, right. I agree with you. The Open was genuinely one of the most progressive, you know, for the first time phone, they actually got a lot of things right. That's what brings me to the
Absolutely.
next question. We saw with the OnePlus Open and now with the Galaxy Z Fold 7, the hinges are getting better, the builds are lighter, the cameras, the earlier generation Galaxies were frankly quite average, but now they aren't an afterthought anymore. But, are they finally good enough? And, as we've been talking, the price is a big factor, but are they good enough to be someone's, like, say, primary device? Would somebody say, uh, junk their S24 Ultra for a Galaxy Fold? Do you think they are good enough to be a primary device for people?
See, it's not about it. This Fold 7 launch will suddenly make foldables as a primary device, right? So obviously, Samsung is one of the major players outside
Right.
China, at least, and even in a market like India. Sure. I mean, this is the arc of innovation also because always the first version and the second version and the third version, obviously the technology and the ecosystem develops. So obviously they are also reaching a stage where they're listening to the consumers and making meaningful innovations in that. So thinness is one part of it. Widening the screen, front screen is another part of it. And obviously making it very light also is a part of it. But I would say that to answer your question, many people are already doing that because it gives a real meaningful productivity and even the entertainment avenues to a consumer who uses only one single phone. But again, we have to remember one of the things which has been keeping the wider adoption, even for excited consumers, for the foldables is the lack of the camera parity between this and the other flagship, right? So
Right.
we have seen
Right.
that across, possibly outside Vivo X lineup because they have Zeiss. Everything else, I mean, Samsung Fold's camera quality cannot be compared to S24 Ultra or S25 Ultra.
True.
Now, I have not used
True.
the Fold 7. We don't know that. So for a single phone, somebody who doesn't use his camera too much and likes the productivity in the OTT and they can unfold their device to have a 7-inch tablet which can be folded and put in the pocket. Absolutely, people are already doing that. Volumes indicate that globally and India also. But having a mass adoption needs multiple things. I mean, for the past 10 years, the entire ecosystem has been saying that phone is one of the important things. Everything else being local, if all the little things are being equal, commoditized, apps and
Right.
everything else, even the chipsets, the camera is a differentiator. I think that's one of the
True.
important ones. And obviously, in the foldable space, then you enter a space that is the form factor right or not? Is it too tall? So maybe Fold 7 is not as tall or probably as tall, but wider. We have to see that. I don't
Right.
think this will be a turning point of the foldables, frankly.
Okay. Okay. You know, talk about phones and we have to talk about Apple. But there have, as you expect, the folks at Cupertino have always maintained a shroud of secrecy around all their products. And there have been rumors, there have been buzzes that Apple has been working on, whether it's an iPad or an iPhone. I'm not sure, but what do you make of that? Why has Apple, as I said, it's been 7 years or more than 7 years since the first foldable was launched. Why has Apple kept away from this category per se? What do
See,
you
that's
make of
very
that?
characteristic of Apple. Yeah, that's very characteristic of Apple. They don't do something for the sake of just doing it because competition is doing it. Sometimes, obviously, in 2, 3 years, they respond to it. And even in the AI space, we have seen they're not doing what everybody else is doing with the chatbots and the apps and everything else. So we can trust Apple to make it. And they, frankly, we have to, be clear that Apple doesn't launch something path breaking the first time.
True.
They see that how the adoption is, they make it perfect and they make it much more user friendly for the end consumer. The rumors of iPhone Fold, so to say, if you will, are not dying down. Frankly, this will not happen this year. Maybe next year we'll see some hints of that. But we believe Apple will enter this space. But when they enter the space, probably that might be a turning point in terms of wider adoption. But then again, knowing Apple's pricing, at least for a market like India, we should be clear that it will not have wider adoption. There
Right.
will be your first set of consumers who will buy an iPhone Fold or whatever they call it, or iPhone Open, whatever they call it. But they will, I mean, that's very characteristic of Apple. They would like to perfect it in terms of UI, weight, camera
Right.
and everything else. There's no compromise which they want to do on the devices.
Right, right. You mentioned India, and we have seen relatively cheaper foldable phones also. Techno did, even the Motorola Razr has a cheaper version. But what do you think? If there is something which could actually take foldables go in a mainstream market like India, I know you said about durability, but is there a lack of trust also and durability that a lot of people feel that this is a phone which might not last for a long. They look fragile. Let's There's no escaping that they do look fragile. So, is trust, durability, if brands can overcome these issues, can foldables go mainstream in a market like India?
Uh, I think it's very difficult because brands, I not say themselves to blame, but brands are doing much better job in the bar, candy shaped phone or a normal phone.
Right,
Uh, Wherever you go, do a dipstick research. The friends and family are one of the first most important recommendation engine for anyone, right? So even if you buy
right,
online and offline. And we have seen that flips and even Motorola, they don't last as long as a normal 70, 80,000 rupees phone, right? So, and a
right,
good Android hardware, if kept well, and we Indians use screen guards and back covers, they last for about 3.5, 4 years. And when somebody spends that kind of money, not many people switch it every year or every 2 years.
absolutely.
Consumers do not have confidence in the longevity of the hardware, so to say, of this. And secondly, when you bring down the price, so let's say the price point is higher right now. A brand can say, I bring down the price point below 50,000. You have to compromise on some of the stuff. You're compromising on the quality of the camera, which you can do, maybe the battery size. And consumers are not okay with the battery size of 5, 6 hours, 4, 5 hours, even if they're spending 40, 50,000, because there are a lot many more options which don't need to give a compelling reasons at 40, 50,000 rupees in a non-foldable device. So
Right.
it's a tough nut to crack by the brands. I don't think pricing only is the answer. We believe that foldables will always have a niche presence. Don't expect it to be a mass segment anytime soon till the time the next form factor comes in.
All right. It would be amiss of me or anyone to do a tech show or anything and not talk about AI. So I'm just going to ask you this customary cursory question about AI. Do you think AI or AI features in foldables can drive growth? Is there, maybe software wise AI features tailored for foldable form factor?
Sure, that can, obviously happen. But I'll flip that argument. You cannot sell any phone right now, at least beyond a certain price point, if it doesn't have any kind of AI features. If you are making somebody spend 70, 80,000 or $1,000 plus, and Fold
Right,
7 comes at almost $2,000,
right,
if it did not have AI, none of the, I mean, consumers might not know what to do with the AI. They
right,
might not know what's the real use case of the AI, but right now AI is the market messaging plank for all the brands. It'll be
right.
very difficult to sell any kind of hardware without the AI features, bring in there.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Navkendra, for being on Tech Up. Whether foldables are the future or just a phase, it's clear that form factor is evolving, and there are questions and doubts around them. Thanks once again, Navkendra, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Abbas.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to hit the like button and follow Money Control. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind.